When he was all afoot, his scaled head, spike-crowned and triple-tongued, rose higher than the broken tower's height, and his taloned forefeet rested on the rubble of the town below. His scales were grey-black, catching the daylight like broken stone. Lean as a hound he was, and huge as a hill. Ged stared in awe. There was no song or tale could prepare the mind for this sight.
Hello! I'm Sarah, and we're making art for the Wizard of Earthsea today. I included a little more of the ideation process this time, lots of thumbnails and scribbles. I'm going to be reading a short chapter from Excerpt 5, The Dragon of Pendor. This is sort of the chapter I attempted to illustrate here. For more context, I encourage you to go check out the book for yourselves. I'm only here to give you a taste. So, here we go.
At the entrance of the harbour, a shallow crescent bay, he let the windspell drop and stilled his boat so that it lay rocking on the waves. Then he summoned the dragon. "Usurper of Pendor, come defend your hoard." His voice fell short in the sound of breakers beating on the ashen shores. But dragons have keen ears. Presently one flitted up from the roofless ruin of the town like a vast black bat, thin-winged and spiny-backed, and circling into the north wind came flying towards Ged. His heart swelled at the sight of the creature that was a myth to his people, and he laughed and shouted, "Go tell the Old One to come, you windworm!" For this was one of the young dragons spawned there years ago by a she-dragon from the West Reach, who had set her clutch of great leathern eggs, as they say she-dragons will, in some sunny broken room of the tower, and had flown away again, leaving the old dragon of Pendor to watch the young when they crawled like baneful lizards from the shell. The young dragon made no answer. He was not large for his kind, maybe the length of a 40-oared ship, and was worm-thin for all the reach of his black membranous wings. He had not got his growth yet, nor his voice, nor any dragon cunning. Straight at Ged in the small rocking boat he came, opening his long-toothed jaws as he slid down arrowy from the air, so that all Ged had to do was bind his wings and limbs stiff with one sharp spell and send him thus hurtling aside into the sea like a stone falling. And the grey sea closed over him. 2 dragons like the first rose up from the base of the highest tower, even as the first one came driving straight at Ged, and even so caught both, hurled both down and drowned them. And he had not yet lifted his wizard's staff. Now after a little time there came 3 against him from the island. One of these was much greater, and fire spewed curling from its jaws. 2 came flying at him, rattling their wings, but the big one came circling from behind, very swift, to burn him and his boat with its breath of fire. No binding spell could catch all 3, because 2 came from north and 1 from south. In the instant he saw this, Ged worked a spell of changing, and between one breath and the next, flew up from his boat in dragon form. Spreading broad wings and reaching talons out, he met the 2 head-on, withering them with fire, and then turned to the third, who was larger than he and armed also with fire. On the wind over the grey waves they doubled, snapped, swooped, lunged, till smoke roiled about them, red-lit by the glare of their fiery mouths. Ged flew suddenly upward, and the other pursued below him. In mid-flight, the dragon Ged raised his wings, stopped, and stooped as the hawk stoops, talons outstretched downward, striking and bearing the other down by the neck and flank. The black wings flurried, and black dragon blood dropped in thick drops into the sea. The Pendor dragon tore free and flew low and lamely to the island, where it hid, crawling into some well or cavern in the ruined town. At once Ged took his form and place again on the boat, for it was most perilous to keep that dragon shape longer than need demanded. His hands were black with the scalding warm blood, and he was scorched about the head with fire. But this was no matter now. He waited only till he had his breath back, and then called. 6 I have seen, 5 slain, 9 are told of. Come out, worms. No creature moved, nor voice spoke for a long while on the island, but only the waves beat loudly on the shore. Then Ged was aware that the highest tower slowly changed its shape, bulging out on one side as if it grew an arm. He feared dragon magic, for old dragons are very powerful and guileful in a sorcery like and unlike the sorcery of men. But a moment more, and he saw this was no trick of the dragon, but of his own eyes. What he had taken for a part of the tower was the shoulder of the dragon of Pendor, as he uncurled his bulk and lifted himself slowly up. When he was all afoot, his scaled head, spike-crowned and triple-tongued, rose higher than the broken tower's height, and his taloned forefeet rested on the rubble of the town below. His scales were grey-black, catching the daylight like broken stone. Lean as a hound he was, and huge as a hill. Ged stared in awe. There was no song or tale could prepare the mind for this sight. Almost he stared into the dragon's eyes, and was caught, for one cannot look into a dragon's eyes. He glanced away from the oily green gaze that watched him, and held up before him his staff, that looked now like a splinter, like a twig. 8 sons I had, little wizard, said the great dry voice of the dragon. 5 died. 1 dies. Enough! You will not win my horde by killing them. I do not want your horde. The yellow smoke hissed from the dragon's nostrils, and that was his laughter. Would you not like to come ashore and look at it, little wizard? It is worth looking at. No, dragon. The kinship of dragons is with wind and fire, and they do not fight willingly over the sea. That had been Ged's advantage so far, and he kept it, but the strip of seawater between him and the great grey talons did not seem much an advantage anymore. It was hard not to look into the green watching eyes. You are very young for a wizard, the dragon said. I did not know men came so young into their power. He spoke as did Ged in the old speech, for that is the tongue of the dragons still, although the use of the old speech binds a man to truth. This is not so with dragons. It is their own language, and they can lie in it, twisting true words to false ends, catching the unwary hearer in a maze of mirror words, each of which reflects the truth and none of which leads anywhere. So Ged had been warned often, and when the dragon spoke, he listened with an untrustful ear, all his doubts ready, but the words seemed plain and clear. Is it to ask my help you have come here, little wizard? No, dragon. Yet I could help you. You will need help soon against that which hunts you in the dark. Ged stood dumb. What is it that haunts you? Name it to me. If I could name it. Ged stopped himself. Yellow smoke curled above the dragon's long head, from the nostrils that were 2 round pits of fire. If you could name it, you could master it, maybe, little wizard. Maybe I could tell you its name when I see it close by. And it will come close if you wait about my isle. It will come wherever you come. If you do not want it to come close, you must run and keep running from it. And yet it will follow you. Will you like to know its name? Ged stood silent again. How the dragon knew of the shadow he had loosed, he could not guess, nor how it might know the shadow's name. The Archmage had said that the shadow had no name, yet dragons have their own wisdom, and they are an older race than man. Few men can guess what a dragon knows and how he knows it, and those few are the dragon lords. To Ged, only one thing was sure, that though the dragon might well be speaking truth, though he might indeed be able to tell Ged the nature and name of the shadow thing, and so give him power over it, even so, even if he spoke truth, he did so wholly for his own ends. It is very seldom, the young man said at last, that dragons ask to do men favors. But it is very common, said the dragon, for cats to play with mice before they kill them. But I did not come here to play, or be played with. I came to strike a bargain with you. Like a sword in sharpness, but 5 times the length of any sword, the point of the dragon's tail arched up scorpion-wise over his mailed back above the tower. Dryly he spoke. I strike no bargains. I take. What have you to offer that I cannot take from you when I like? Safety. Your safety. Swear that you will never fly eastward of Pendor, and I will swear to leave you unharmed. A grating sound came from the dragon's throat, like the noise of an avalanche far off, stones falling among mountains. Fire danced along the 3-forked tongue. He raised himself up higher, looming over the ruins. You offer me safety. You threaten me. With what? With your name, ye vowed. Ged's voice shook as he spoke the name, yet he spoke it clear and loud. At the sound of it, the old dragon held still, utterly still. A minute went by, and another, and then Ged, standing there in his rocking chip of a boat, smiled. He had staked this venture and his life on a guess drawn from old histories of dragon lore learned on Roke, a guess that this dragon of Pendor was the same that had spoiled the west of Oskel in the days of Elfaran and Mored, and had been driven from Oskel by a wizard, Elt, wise in names. The guess had held. We are matched, you vowed. You have the strength, I have your name. Will you bargain?
Thank you for reading with me. I'm doing my best to get better at these recordings. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, whether about the art or about the book. Have a nice day.